Eliminate or limit processed food intake in the U.S. by Caitlin Postlethwaite. Eliminate or limit processed food intake in the U.S. by Caitlin Postlethwaite. Everyone has eaten processed food throughout their life. Everyone has also felt really bad at some point or another because of the certain foods that they put into their body. For the most part, a lot of people think processed foods should be eliminated or maybe discontinued and all. Everybody in the U.S. loves food and cannot get enough of it, especially the processed fast foods and snacks. Well, the U.S. is in need of a change by either eliminating or limiting the processed food intake. Obesity rates are rising in the U.S. more than any other country. Many studies show that sugar can have devastating effects on metabolism that go way beyond its calorie content, according to Chris Gunners. Food that has been highly modified with lots of added calories, including saturated fats, sugars, and starches, has helped fuel the obesity epidemic and Americans' worst eating habits, according to the article Pros and Cons of Processed Foods. The U.S. needs to cut back on all processed foods due to obesity rates increasing and the health issues rising throughout the U.S. The United States obesity rates are higher than ever. The health issues in Americans are also rising due to poor choices of foods. We like junk food so much that 61% of the food Americans buy is highly processed, according to research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. And almost 1,000 calories a day of a person's diet comes solely from highly processed foods, according to Nancy Basilchuk. Coming from Mandy Oaklander's article, a number of researchers argue that extremely processed foods are the reason behind rising rates of obesity, diabetes, and other metabolic diseases. So many people are starting to overeat the wrong foods due to their good taste. There are some people who believe processed foods are good for you and for your health. All processed foods are good. Actually, most of the foods are extremely bad for you, but there are a few items like frozen vegetables which aren't as bad for you. Processed foods do not have anything to do with obesity. That has to do with lack of exercise. Although lack of exercise does play a part in obesity, you also have to eat the right foods to lose the weight that you have gained from processed foods. Processed foods still contain nutrition. The nutritional parts are taken out, then later added back in, but modified, making it no longer beneficial in the same way it should have been. There are a few ways in which the U.S. can go about to resolve the processed food limitation or elimination issue. Omitting processed packaged foods can make it hard to meet your body's dietary needs. Jennifer Hewitt explains. Local food environments influence the choices made by children, families, and community members. Having a few well-known famous people promote kids to eat healthier and make better food choices could possibly solve that issue. Introduce healthier, unprocessed foods in the fast food industry to start getting kids to live a better lifestyle. There are many benefits that could come out of limiting processed foods. Kenneth Brown says the abundance of sugars found in highly processed foods is the main culprit of metabolic syndrome. Limiting the intake of processed foods could prevent metabolic syndrome. Acting could lower the risk of many different diseases as well as mental diseases. One 2014 study found higher levels of well-being were reported by individuals who ate more fruits and vegetables, coming from the article Diet and Mental Health. Lowering the intake of processed foods could help improve your outlook on life. Get rid of processed foods. Not all processed food is the same. However, the USDA classifies processed food as any edible that's not a raw agricultural commodity, so even pasteurized milk and frozen fruits and vegetables count, according to Kenneth Brown. Get rid of all processed foods of which could possibly harm your body. Eliminate any food that could cause obesity for the U.S. citizens. Mandy also explains highly processed foods are often loaded with extra sugar, but don't be fooled if the word sugar doesn't actually appear on the label. There are as many as 50 different words used to list types of sugar added to processed foods.
The U.S. should eliminate the ability to add sugar into food products without using the word sugar. Processed foods can cause heart diseases, obesity, high blood pressure, headaches, and in worst cases, cancer. So by avoiding processed foods, you are giving yourself a better lifestyle.